Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Serenity Gaming Division 2 Wintersplit. It's the first week of games for 2019, and do we have a game for you? SRG Lyra take on Roskilde Esports. And joining me in the casting booth is Karim.
Howdy everyone! Glad to be back here. Also, my neighbors just started drawing and doing some other stuff apparently. So hopefully you guys are going to hear that. However, yes, I'm still apparently sick. Regardless, welcome everyone to the Serenity Gaming stream. I'm glad to be joining our lovely newscaster here with us today, Milky Cereal. So everyone, please, a brief little welcome. And what are we going to be looking at here today, Milky?
Right, so should we start off with the Lyra team then?
Of course, we can. So, Lyra are an old team. They're old boys, you know, they're the OG, the general, stuff like that. They have played in SRG since as long as I can remember. They started off in the summer split, where they didn't actually do too terrifyingly much. They didn't really get to top spots, but, you know, they tried nonetheless. Then in Division Deciders, they had relatively difficult road into Division 1, however they still managed to get there. However, there they struggled. They were at the bottom of the scoreboard, but in the end they managed to win the relegation matches. So they apparently were supposed to be in Division 1, but alas, they're now going to be in Division 2 because of the different roster changes that we have had at the end of the first half of the split. So officially, it's going to be the second half, right? But I just want to call it a whole new split because of the whole new experience that we're going to be bringing you guys here over the course of the next couple of weeks.
And you mentioned SRG Lyra, you know, they're an experienced team in this division. They've been here since pretty much the start of SRG, but Roskilde Esports, fairly new.
They are, and they are something that we call a wildcard. Thank you, Nate, for bashing the hammer against the wall. Okay. Roskilde Esports, they are a university team, at least from what I could find. Remember, I'm not Danish, so all the information that I may have found may be a bit absolutely understand what the hell is going on. And apparently I have a sweet little pigeon speaking into my ear that it's a local team, not a university one, so thank you for that. However, they still come into this community, let's say, and hopefully we can see some great games for them, because what we've seen in the past from teams outside of our own community is that they can be really, really good, believe it or not. We have the likes of Hilaro and Team Lightning Fang, now called Esports Lightning Fang, which means that they're called elves, so, you know, Santa's little helpers, you could call them. And they have showed us that they can still pull some really amazing things off, so hopefully that will also be the case for Roskilde.
And one thing we should possibly mention is Roskilde, they've got their own gaming house, they're an 8-man roster, and although we haven't fully confirmed it, they do have a coaching team of sorts. So they do have experience, and obviously with a gaming house, they're very, very serious.
They really sound like they're serious, but you know, it kind of could be a disadvantage at times, because if you know your friends a lot, then there can be some friction. You know, you can insult someone when you spend too much time with them, but hopefully the guys in Roskilde, they know what they're doing, and, you know, hopefully that's going to be only beneficial to them, as it isn't something that we actually have here in Serenity Gaming. All of the teams, at least from what I remember, are virtual. I'm going to tell them. And, you know, Gamer House could be something that is going to improve their gameplay a lot, because you can focus on a lot more nuanced things, and you will see them, well, hands-on, with your own eyes. So, again, it can be an advantage for them.
This is a very interesting game, because you've got Lyra, who have, in quotation marks, have been relegated, and Roskilde, who are new. So you've got the old dogs versus the new dogs who want to prove themselves in the league.
Indeed, and the old dogs, well, Lyra, they are sort of an old dogs. They still have members that competed in the first half and also in the division deciders, which is at this point Meller, Kilcore, Kreiner, Lodberg, and because I'm not sure, I don't think that Grothwold.
I think he is playing. I think he is playing. Yeah.
Yes. So I do not think that he played in the Wintersplit so far. So they have kind of the advantage of the home ground. You know, they're most likely going to be a bit more popular since most of our viewership comes from people who are also in our Discord service. So, you know, it's going to be the whole overused LCS narrative of old kings against new challengers.
It's the old kings of Europe versus the new kings of Europe.
it's a bit cliche. It's a bit overused. But yeah, hopefully it actually won't have any direct effect on the game, which it shouldn't have, but it always plays a pretty big role. The whole mentality and the morale that you're going to these games with, especially in a negative light, because imagine that you know all the people that are going to be watching you on the stream, they're going to be judging you, okay? Something that I've noticed a lot in the Discord is that people like to trash talk each other a lot, and if you see someone make a mistake on stream and you know him, well, he's going to let you know.
Right, and that brings us on. We do need to introduce the players from each team because we do have some we have some important things to mention regarding both teams and how they play. So let's start with the SRG Lyra top laner then. Mola. I'm sure I'm going to pronounce every single name wrong.
It's okay.
This team.
It's okay. We all do. It's the curse of not having any actual Danish casters. Well, we do, but you know he's going to show himself at least in the near future. So you mentioned Meller, Molar. We can call him whatever we want. He is a nice little something that we call a one trick. He plays Tryndamere a lot. I believe he has around 250 games at least right now. When compared to his other picks, it's not really too much surprise that it's his best pick. However, in the Wintersplit, it has been kind of, I'm going to call, underpicked, that people don't actually pick it too often because, you know, it's Tryndamere in a competitive setting, so it's kind of bad. However, in the few games that he has played, he has had a sort of mixed record on it, so maybe we can see it today. But I'm looking at his other picks, something like a bruiser, something of a duelist type, because when you look at the top laner of Roskilde that is going to be playing today, it's going to be Big Gunk, which, by the way, is an amazing name, okay? But both of these players love playing something of a carry. Both like to go for these champions that can affect the game a lot from the get-go, and again, both of these players can be really aggressive when given the means. So that is going to be really interesting.
Especially, again, you mentioned Big Gunk. He does like to play those carry champions such as Aatrox, the Darius. So we might get a Trinda Darius lane, which the top lane could be crucial for, you know, how the entire game proceeds.
It could be very detrimental, essentially, if they do pick Tryndamere into Darius. I don't think it's going to happen. But another role that is going to have a lot of impact on how not only top lane, but also the jungle. And when we're already talking about ganking, we have Kreiner on the lineup of Lyra, who is really good at ganking, okay? I think he had the best jungle presence throughout the first half of the split.
And
so he is...
Sorry,
yes?
I was going to say, and he does play those tanky kind of junglers, those engaged junglers, the Zac, the Trundle, the Sejuani.
Indeed, and he can switch the... No, what am I even trying to say? He can swap the roles of the teams in just throughout the match. He can single-handedly turn the game around with just continuous ganks. However, one thing that he's bad at is actually dueling. So if Roskilde go with something of an aggressive jungler, it can be really detrimental to him, as we will be entering the pro draft in a couple of early seconds, a couple of early minutes. Hopefully, we don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
while we say that and we get into the picks and bans, we have been going over the Lyra players, and Kilcore, who is the Lyra mid laner, we know how susceptible he is to ganks. And when you have a jungler from Roskilde like Flawless, who plays the Camille, plays the Rengar, plays the Lee Sin, you would think that Kilcore, he's going to be a bit nervous heading into this game.
He really should be, especially because, as you said, whenever an enemy jungler comes to his lane, he instantly blows up. Because, well, he is playing those immobile mages. He can play Aurelia, however, mostly it's going to be the mage.
We've just got the ban phase up, and Lyra have just banned Katarina, so that's from Bent. Katarina is Bent's most played champion in that mid lane, so taking away the comfort picks straight away.
Indeed, and Bent is one of those players who we can really only judge based on the OPGG, but he doesn't play too many other picks, only one Akali, so taking away these champions means that he will be put onto a discomfortable pick, so it can matter in the actual game itself. Now, Rakan being taken away means that a lineup of Lyra won't have the possibility of executing the Lovers duo, which was a really big threat for Roskilde, because, you know, both of the bot laners love playing Xayah and Rakan, and so far, we're just waiting.
And we know Grathwald, he plays a lot of Rakan. Rakan is his most played champion. And then straight away, Flawless is Camille. Again, his most played champion's banned, followed by Big Gunks, Aatrox being banned. So they're just banning the one trick. Well, not the one tricks, but as I say that, Lyra have picked the Shen. So Mela is not going for that Trinder. He's not going for his Trinder one trick. He's taking the Shen. And you mentioned that it could be a possible skill matchup between Big Gunk and Mela, but going with the Shen is a much safer option, isn't it?
It really is. However, Shen can actually technically find some of his own leads on his own accord, which is something that we have seen Mela do in the past. Now, on the other side, you have Lissandra being picked. Both of these picks are technically flexible. You can put them around. However, I believe that Shen is going to be going into Mela's hands just because he can play that champion really well. Lissandra can go to mid lane, can go to top lane, and Braum means that maybe Roskilde are just looking for some more safer options, something like of the hyper carry to actually scale.
And I think the Braum's a good pick as well, because we know how much Grathwald, he likes playing those engaged champions. The Rakan, although it's been banned, the Thresh, the Alistair, the Blitzcrank. So picking a Braum to be able to disengage against Grathwald's engage, it's not a bad shout.
It really isn't, and the Lucian is actually still opened up, so Roskilde can go and pick this AD carry for themselves, which would net them a really, really strong bot lane that can actually get a lot of early game leads, especially when you're going to have this Kai'Sa against you, who just wants to scale, but it looks like it will be the Mad Cow locked in, so hopefully they can sustain themselves throughout the laning phase.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Kai'Sa really strong in late game, maybe a Lucian, try to go for that early game snowball. It is a possibility for Roskilde.
It really is, and both these teams actually have a relatively similar playstyle which revolves a lot around team fighting. So right now the picks are responding to that idea, and Sion is actually locked in.
Though Sion, do you think that Sion could be used as a flex pick somewhat, or do you think that will be going towards Big Gunk?
See, there is Braum already locked in, so I don't think it's going to be going into the support role. Sion jungle isn't that great, technically could be going there. We have seen Sion be played in Korea at mid lane, so maybe that could be the position. However, I think that it is going to be going into the hands of the Big Gunk, and that both of these teams are actually going to be focusing mostly on the team fighting portion of the game.
Oh, and the Zillion has been banned. That's obviously to stop Kilcore, and Grace has also been banned. So, Talia's banned. So we do know Kilcore has played Talia a few times. It is one of his most played mid laners. But again, I'm slightly surprised that they've prioritized Talia as one of their bans.
Well, they are just getting the options for both Kilcore and Kreiner out of the picture, because those are the only lanes that haven't really been picked up just yet. Lee Sin taken away from Roskilde, again, one of the champions that Flawless can play flawlessly.
However, this does leave...
I hate myself.
Oh, why did... Right, Tristana locked in now for experts, and I was going to say, I'm going to imagine that Flawless is going to be on the Rengar now. You've got the AD from Tristana, you've got the AP from Lissandra, Sign and Braum both tanky, so you can play Rengar. You don't need to take another tank. But Lyra, if we see the Sejuani,
Oh my
Galio,
God.
I was gonna
no.
say, if Lyra go for a tank, you're just gonna have that one AD carry. You know, the Kaiser. It's gonna be almost an Uzi RNG style setup where Lyra just put their entire team focus around Lodberg here.
And this is just, this is what we call just, damn, I completely forgot the name. It's basically, you're putting an egg into like a really, really thick basket, okay, just filled up with pillows. In the late game, there should be no way that the Roskilde can actually shred through all of these tanks unless Tristana has finished her full build, so they're just going for pure late game. However, that Xin Zhao, it is a champion that Kreiner has played in the past, however not to its fullest potential. Maybe he has improved over the Christmas season, and maybe he can surprise us here today, because what we haven't seen from him today is a lot of aggressive picks, and
oh, Kha'Zix's locked in for Flawless, so
he can abuse Kha'Zix as Xin Zhao.
We've mentioned how susceptible Killcore is to ganks, but again, Killcore's main champions, Veigar, Zillion, and Nivea, these are all weak champions, but with something like Galio, he'll have so much more durability that perhaps he won't, you know, the ganks from Kha'Zix won't be able to do that much to him, but what do you think?
Well, especially if the ganks come after he has finished his first item, assuming that he is going to be building the Rod of Ages first, even though he can go for something more aggressive, as Galio has slowly shifted into the more mage-oriented build, so, you know, he's likely going to be taking either the Luden's Echo or Protobelt. But if he decides to go tanky, which I am expecting him to, there should be nothing that Flawless can do with that Kha'Zix after he actually hits his item, so you're right. It is a really safe pick from him, especially because he is against Alessandra, who doesn't have that much damage early on her own accord.
And Galio obviously AP champion, but if he goes for that really tanky build, do you think Lyra will have an issue with the main champions, the Kaiser, Xin Zhao being AD? Do you think Roskilde can get away with building up a lot of armor?
Well,
sorry,
yes,
go on.
Yes, of course. You're completely right. Roskilde, the issue that I have, because when we're comparing the teams, Lyra have 3 full-blown tanks, and Roskilde have, well, 1 with, well, 2, technically, if you counted the Braum. So, Roskilde, they can stack a lot of armor. However, here's the thing. Lodberg, he can build hybrid Kai'Sa. It isn't something that we see too terribly often, because it actually lowers the overall damage output of yours. But if you want to just shred through tanks and just worsen their day by not letting them just itemize purely into armor, you can do that. So Kai'Sa is a really good pick into this. But yes, there is the possibility.
Sorry, because of course you can take the Rage Blade. Even Nash's Tooth is not unseen on Kai'Sa, just to get that bit of AP, just so that you can get your W evolution off.
Indeed, and what I'm just looking at here is, this is gonna be a really boring game, at least in the first 30 minutes or so, unless Kreiner goes off and gives us some nice little early game shenanigans with this Xin Zhao. So we're likely not going to see too much happening in the first early to mid game portion of the match. However, in the late game, it's going to be super interesting, because assuming that neither of these teams actually snowballs out of control, it's going to be really even on the team fighting front, and it's going to come down into just the execution, which Lyra have been really famous for. So it's going to be up to Roskilde to show us whether they are more capable than the old kings.
And yeah, I mean, you've got Shen versus Cyan top lane. That's you're not going to see much action there. In mid lane, you've got Galio versus Lissandra. Again, probably not too much action there. And if you go down to bot lane, the engaged support is on the side of Lyra with the Alistair, but Tristana has the jump. And Braum, again, a defensive support. So, again, you'd think if Lyra did go in on Roskilde, on the Tristana, he'll just be able to get out pretty easily.
Yeah, and another common aspect that both of these team compositions have is that both have a really good way to actually start up a team fight. Lyra more so than Roskilde. However, Roskilde can actually utilize this engage potential earlier than Lyra, because Lyra will need to kind of actually get together to really do something. Even though you have this Shen and Gallia who have global ultimates, they're not going to be doing too terrifyingly much in the early game, whereas Roskilde, they can actually go for something as soon as they hit that level 6 ultimate. On the Scion, on the Braum, they can start to look utilizing these early game advantages, especially if they want to snowball that Kha'Zix, because a Kha'Zix that is behind is just a useless bug. It's just a bug in a video game.
You say that, Lyra still, they've got the Shen ultimate, they've got the Galio ultimate, both extremely useful global ultimates. And another thing I would like to point out is Cyan and Lissandra, that's Big Gunk and Bent240, they have both taken teleport. While on Lyra, it's only their top lane at the Shen.
Well, Killcore has also picked up
Has Killcore?
Yes, I believe yes.
Ah, yes.
Okay, good. Yeah. So both teams with the good old 1-2.
But apart from that, all the summoners are exactly the same then.
Okay.
So that's Braum. I would have thought Braum might take exhaust playing against the Kai'Sa.
So here's the thing: if you have a bot lane where you have 2 hyper carries, to take an exhaust, you can opt in for the ignite, because you're not really terrified of the other team actually demolishing you. Both Kai'Sa and Tristana just want to actually scale up, hit a couple of items, and then start wreaking havoc. So picking up the ignite for any of the potential picks that you can find is going to be actually more useful to you than if you were to play completely passively, like you sometimes do with Braum. But again, it makes us aware that something can happen in this bot lane. You mentioned it. Lyra have Alistar, who can set up these fights, and Braum, they can also set up some fights. So, you know, it can happen, technically. I don't think we're going to see too many fights, but it can happen. And especially if you have the ignite, the probability is only rising.
So, do you think a lot of this early game anyway is going to revolve around Flawless and Kreiner's ability to gank that bot lane then?
Yes, I think that Kreiner and Flawless are going to make or break the game for their team. I don't necessarily think that we're going to see too many one-on-one action, especially just between the junglers themselves, just because of my past experiences with Kreiner's gameplay. However, Flawless, he's a new bird, or a bug in this case. We don't really know too much about him, so whenever we're going to have to keep our eyes on him, because if we see him in Killcore's jungle, that means that he's already a step ahead of Kreiner, and that is going to be really important in determining the outcome of the game, because I mentioned that we're going to see a lot of late game fights, and that it's going to depend just on the execution and the mastery of the champions of both teams. But well, if one team is terribly ahead, especially with something like the Kha'Zix or the Xin Zhao, it's going to be completely irrelevant. So yes, the junglers are going to play a really, really big role in this game.
You know what I would absolutely love to see? I would love it if Big Gunk went into Cyan. Can you just imagine? He went into Cyan and caught the enemy team caught Lyra completely by surprise.
You know, okay, so liking something, it's subjective, okay? But, you know, I'm just glad we're past the inting style thing, just personally, you know? But it's technically still possible to use that strategy. He is running the Grasp of the Undead, so maybe.
It's always funny though when you're in solo queue or just in a normal game and someone tries to do some kind of weird strategy that was used 4 patches ago but they've debuffed now, and they're like, no, it works. I saw Faker using this on his live stream, and it's like, yeah, that was 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, Faker played Twitch support. Let's try that in ranked, shall we? That's a hint, nudge, nudge. Okay. Yes, I don't think that inting Cyan is going to be a big priority, especially because you have this Xin Zhao that if you give a couple of kills to him, well, he's still going to be a monster no matter if you actually manage to put any pressure on the map. And
we're in game.
We are. Also, there are 3 aftershocks in this game. The rune isn't broken, everyone. No, it's just really good apparently that 3 people decide to pick it in one game. It reminds me of the Dark Harvest days. Those are some good days.
Oh
yeah. Yes.
Kilcore trying to get a few hits off on Flawless.
Not much happening, at least right now. Kilcore did get the 2 tornadoes off on him, so hey,
Look at
that's
that.
a good start.
Flawless has to back. I think they should just surrender. They've already lost. They haven't put, what's the term? They haven't oh god, I can't remember. Anyway.
Okay. It's just that your English is your primary language. It doesn't matter. No, but yes, they should definitely FF. It wouldn't be the first time today that a team has forfeited their game. As the guys, if you have been here today at 3 PM, we were supposed to have a game, but it got cancelled because apparently the teams didn't have their top laners, so, you know, thank them for that. So yeah, it's actually the first game of today. Yay! So yes, an FF is highly likely in this scenario.
Right. So away we go, and Kilcore picks up the first couple of CSs of the game. Right.
How wonderful.
So, both junglers starting on their bot side then.
We'll be starting on the bot side, looking to maybe do some shenanigans. This and Zhao can technically go to the bot lane just from the get-go with their level 2, but looks like they will be doing just their more passive clears. We can see some contest being held over the Scuttle Crab. Because right now, Lyra don't see Flawless. I believe that they have spotted him now, and Kreiner is running over there, so that is something that could happen.
Right, and Flawless is going to take the first Scuttle Crab, unless Kreiner can possibly contest. I don't think so.
I'm not sure about the pathing there. I think that Kreiner wanted to go for a quick gank at bot lane, but then he decided against it, and as such, Flawless just got a flawless first Scuttle Crab, so, well, not much happening there.
Mellors might be picking up big dunk here. They're having quite an extended trade. He gets hit by the Cyan Q, and the trade's going to end there, but that was a very big fight, and Mellor looking like he was going to come out on top for a lot of that.
Yeah, Mellor's Shen is really good. I believe that I've said this before, but it isn't something to scoff at. You think of Shen as a tanky top laner that does only things for his team, but Mellor Shen, he can do things on his own, especially when he's against another tank, like this big beefy gunk.
And early game, Shen is surprisingly strong, so you do have to respect him, but he has just taken a lot of damage from big gunk now.
Yeah, and they're both out of pots, so all of the traits are going to matter a lot more, as Shen doesn't have any inherent sustain. He does have the Dawn Shield, so hey, that's going to be something that he can utilize, but now both junglers are in the top side river, and Flawless is looking to go to mid.
Flawless? Is he going to gank on Kilcore? Yes, he is. Kilcore's been rooted, but he has to burn the flash, and he's going to go down. First Blood is going to go over to Ben.
So,
that was well played.
That was a nice gang from Flawless.
Oh,
and
meanwhile, Mellor picks up the kill, but watch out for the Cyan passive. No, Mellor manages to get far enough away. So it's a 1-for-1 trade, but unfortunately it's just a bit too late. But if we just take us through then, the flawless gank that was executed.
Ooh, I see you're picking up my puns. Good, young Padawan. So, Flawless, he didn't really have too much competition. Kreiner was just picking up the Scuttle Crab in the top side of the river, not much happening there. And Flawless just came around and he didn't even jump, he just walked to Kilcore and killed him because Lissandra actually has some CC, so he can work with that lane. And I mentioned that Kilcore disintegrates whenever he touches an enemy jungler before like 30 minutes. And I was expecting him to do well with his Galio. Of course, he hasn't lost the lane yet, okay? But
it's before he can pick up his tank items.
Yes, that was the condition that I gave, didn't I?
Yeah.
He has finished the nice little amplifying tome, so hey.
But it was a good gank by Flawless because he was waiting right alongside the wall, so Killcore didn't actually have the vision of him until right at the last second, and he was then rooted from the Lissandra, so he didn't really have much choice.
Yes, and Ben also played it well that he actually stopped his dash, so...
Oh, Krynus coming up for a gank onto Big Gunk, but I think Big Gunk's going to get away. Oh, he gets a knock up.
That was interesting. Okay, Viking just slowly runs away from the two attackers. A nice little interaction with the bush there. And right now, the lineup of Roskilde are actually on a pretty good way to set up a nice even late game for us. Again, I'm going to mention it, that if neither of the teams are too terribly ahead, it's going to be a really even late game, and so far, the goal is dead even.
Vela having a bit of a trade on Scion, that's a lot of damage onto the Scion from him.
He does have that 1 kill and has picked up the Bami Cinder, so he's going to be inherently more tanky than Scion, at least as of right now. And so far, Flawless, he has been a bit more dominant in his jungle presence, at least when it comes down to the scuttle control, which he is picking up at least right now.
And he's going for that bot side scuttle crab. Obviously, you don't have to use scuttle crab after the first one is done, but he did prioritize the bot side scuttle crab early on. So prioritizing that vision on the bot lane, which we did say the jungler's ganks on bot lane would be extremely important.
And so far, both of these junglers have just prioritized top side of the map.
Oh, Kryna, is he not? He didn't come around. Flawless was waiting for him there. Oh, he's going in. He's going in on Kryna, and Tristana's coming in. Didn't even need any ult, but Galio's ulted in, and now he's going to die after Lissandra comes in with her E.
And that was just the flawless execution. Sorry, I'm not trying with these puns at this point anymore.
It's just happening. It's just happening.
It's just, you say it and it comes out and it just kind of feels good. That sounded way too, inappropriate, but regardless, that was really well played from Flawless. I will be honest, I did not expect that much damage.
And they didn't even have a ward on the area. They've got a ward down there, but it wasn't over where Kryna was. So it was a good prediction jump from Flawless.
Yes.
And Galio then decided, hey, I'll come in and try and save you, Kryna. But Lissandra was like, well, I'm here and our bot lane's here, so you're gonna die.
And now you do have that one early kill on Kha'Zix, meaning that he will be able to pick up that warrior enchantment.
Oh, Science ulting into lane. Oh, he gets damage off. Will he be able to pick up Mela? I think he's got the kill.
Well,
he does pull off the flash. And the blade recall does slow him, but he's been knocked up, and Galio's just too far back.
And you cannot run away from this big gunk. I was about to mention the fact that both top laners now have their ultimates up, and Big Gunk's Unstoppable Onslaught does allow him to gain more presence in the lane than Shen, and he utilized it pretty much perfectly. Meller, he didn't really respect the fact that you now have this pain train in the form of Scion on the enemy team, and he paid with his life for it.
Oh, Zin's gonna gank onto Big Gunk. He's gonna pick up a few hits. Big Gunk is taking all the damage from the turret, and that is brilliant.
And that is just unfortunate if you're Big Gunk. You have picked up that Bami Cinder, and Kryner just has to be next to you for you to start tanking turret hits.
Did he get taunted by Zin?
I don't believe that Xin Zhao has a taunt, in fact.
It's a Bami Cylinder from Scion. That's why he was taking the turret aggro. Of course.
Meanwhile, on the bot lane, some trading happened, and nothing happens in the end.
Oh, there's a bit of a battle between the junglers for the Scuttle Crab, but Flawless is going to let Kryner go for that. Science hasn't returned to lane, so the Shen coming in was always too much of a risk.
And right now, both teams look to just kind of chill out for a bit, at least for once. And looking at the entire situation, Roskilde Esports are slightly more ahead, nothing too big so far, but...
Oh, and Galio's going to get picked up by Flawless. Is this another time he's going to die from a gank? But Shen's turned up after his ult. Sven's forced to flash. Xin Zhao's trying to turn up. Will he go for a dive? I don't think he will in the end. But Kha'Zix came in. Kha'Zix ganked and Mela ulted in pretty quickly.
And this is the power that you have when you have so many global ultimates on your team. you have that Stand With Me, or Stand United, sorry,
Yeah.
in the form of Shen, so he can change any team fight to their own advantage, and that's exactly what happened there. And it's really important that they don't give any more kills over into the hands of Flawless and Bent, because then they're risking that the enemy is going to run away with that lead.
Yeah. I mean, one disadvantage for Lyra with the Shen pulling off the Stand Unite is Cyan has got the turret down almost to the second plating.
Yes, he has taken quite a bit of gold from it, but alas, it's still a tank, so giving him too much gold won't really matter. But, you know, he's still going to be as tanky as he would be without it eventually. And now in the bot lane...
Oh, Alistair, he gets the knock-up onto Jakobsen. Braum ult. Oh, he's actually going to get out of this. Kaiser ults in, and the Ignite will kill Braum. So the Ignite pick was important in the end, wasn't it?
It really was, and even though it on the opposing side, X-Men just slowly vanished to the poor man's lighter as he got lit up on fire, and that was a very good gank from Kreiner, giving some pressure over into the hands of the bot lane. They will be now able to pick up some gold from the plating, so that's always a good plus. However, now the first dragon, the second dragon of the game is going to be up, and
it's going to be Infernal.
Yeah. It is going to. Wait, is it?
So,
it's going to be an Ocean Drake, I believe.
Is it Ocean? I've got Infernal on my screen, I think.
Oh wow. Well, it's actually okay. So you have the Infernal in the top left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it just signifies the dragon. When you look at the wall of the dragon, it shows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry,
that's
my bad.
tutorials with Milky Cereal and Karim.
There you go. How to learn what dragon's coming up next. But Flawless is going to get... Is he just getting caught out by Galio? No, he's able to escape just in time.
And let's actually look at the mid lane, because this is something that Killcore is known for. He dies whenever a jungler comes to his lane, but he can slowly accumulate a couple of these CS leads. He's currently sitting at almost 20 ahead of Bent, and when we notice that he has been pretty much babysat by Flawless, that is still a really good score for him. And he is building that Hextech Protobot.
Oh, look at this, Kreiner is Mela baiting Big Gunk in. Can Kreiner get in? Yes, he can. And will Big Gunk be able to escape? Does he have the ult? I don't think he... I think he almost has a Galio ults in. And Flawless is a bit too slow, but Mela almost dying there. Zinzao has to pull off the ult to push Flawless back.
And that was a really well executed fight from, I'm going to say, both teams. If Flawless hadn't been there, then Big Gunk would just...
Oh, Alistair roaming back into bot lane. I was thinking maybe he could get off a nice engage onto Tristana.
And he won't get off in the end, unfortunately. Not that we really would want to see that, but regardless. So now the state of the game is relatively even, and I want to point out that now you will notice that the lineup of Roskilde Esports actually have more kills, but the gold is still even, and that is because Lyra are actually accruing these little goldies, but now top lane.
Killcore gets flash torn off, and Shen's ulting in on top, and Big Gunk is going to fall. That was a really nice roam by Killcore, and well executed as well.
And again, it's just these global ultimates. It's just Meller once again using Stand United to surprise Roskilde, and they have to start acknowledging the fact that Lyra actually have a Shen. They cannot overextend like this because they're going to die if they don't have anyone to help them.
I just want to point, that's the second time Big Gunk has overextended, and both of them have been fairly important times. The last time Roskilde were leading 3 kills to 1, and they had the gold advantage until they gave it away with that overextend.
Indeed, and now it may be actually Meller who is overextended a bit.
Oh, you have to flash. Does he have his dash up? No, he has the Q slow, and he does get over the wall. Does Flawless have his jump up? I don't think he does, no.
He did not. He did have his flash, and technically he could have continued the chase, but alas, nothing will come of it, at least as of right now.
Meanwhile, Kreiner is going to be picking up the Ocean Drake.
I feel like more important than the Ocean Drake was the fact that the bot lane of Lyra pretty much solo killed the bot lane of Roskilde.
Yeah,
but
that's probably important as well. Yeah.
It's probably important, yeah.
I looked down on the map, but I didn't look all the way.
Yes, it's okay. We all get that. So now you have an early kill onto Kai'Sa, and Kai'Sa snowballing out of control. It has never gone well for the opposing team.
I just saw Flawless came. He put a control ward into his blue buff pit, and then realized
top lane. Meller versus Big Gun just dueling it out again.
And it's always when you're fighting against a Shen, how long do you want to stay in the battle for? How long do you dare stay?
Well, the longer you stay in a battle with Shen, the better you are off actually, because his Q eventually runs up and he doesn't get the empowered auto attacks, but if he keeps going for these just short trades...
Oh, has he used his ult?
Well, Killcore has jumped in, and Big Gunk, he still does have the unstoppable
get out. He gets a knock up, but Mela's going to fall anyway. Xin Zhao, sorry, no, Alistair, Grathwall a bit too late to the party, and that's a good trade for Big Gunk and Roskilde Esports, I think.
You just hate to see it though. Point blank, unstoppable onslaught into Meller's face just to execute him. That was a bit of an overkill, but that will mean that a turret can be picked up by Lyra in the top lane, and right now they're slowly accumulating a really big gold lead.
And it's why if you are Lyra there, you know that Grathwall's coming up. Why would you engage that soon? Just let Killcore ult in. You've got time. Why risk it?
Well, to be fair, Big Gunk did get kind of caught out once again by Meller, just again overextending a bit. But yeah, But
we're gonna have a nice fight for Rift Herald. That's if they can get through Killcore's constant fuse, and Lyra will pick up the Rift Herald. But Killcore, is he gonna try and get the flash off? And that is extremely interesting from Ben, who essentially suicides. Lordberg gets the ult off. Flawless had almost picked him off, and he will get the kill eventually. The shield from the Kai'Sa ult was not enough, but Flawless will die, and it's only Sign who is going to escape now. Meanwhile, Experts did pick up the bot lane turret.
So Ben did have the right idea at going into the battle after Killcore's taunt has run out, but I'm guessing that he hasn't actually realized that when you're in the middle of 4 people and you're alone, you're likely going to get either robbed or killed. Yeah. And, well, it went with the latter choice for it.
And sorry, Roskilde Esports are going to lose 2 turrets as a result of that. So, not a good choice from them.
Totally not. And now, again, Lyra are just slowly getting themselves ahead and ahead.
Oh, and Mela and Big Gunk are fighting. Killcore turning up, as is Flawless. And Big Gunk is forced to use the ultimate. So that's 1 ult down on the side of Roskilde.
And it is a relatively short cooldown though, so it won't affect too many things, but I want to point out that Killcore has finished his proto belt a long time ago. However, he does have 4 kills, and I believe that he is going to expend them right now. So he is going to be dealing a lot of damage, presuming that he goes into a more aggressive itemization. He has picked up the Oblivion Orb, so Moralonomicon will be the first choice, or the second choice. I'm not sure if I would go with that, given that right now Roskilde don't really have any healing, but you know, who knows? Who knows?
One thing I would actually like a bit of clarification on is I always thought that getting the stopwatch on Lissandra early was really important, but Bent has opted for that proto belt as his first item. I just want to know what the thinking behind that is.
So you generally don't rush stopwatch unless you are against an assassin that has completely destroyed you in a lane, because then it actually gives you meaningful survivability. Also, if you're super behind, you can pick it as your first item, but in this case, yes, I'm going to say it's a bit of an oof.
And we've got a battle going on here as Groffel gets off a nice combo onto Jakobsen, and the Kai'Sa is almost going to pick it up, and the proto belt from Killcore just can't finish him off. But
Jakobsen,
Tristana did have to burn her heal though.
just against all odds, Jakobsen manages to survive the last little poof of the proto belt. Almost got him dead, but alas, he survives. He became a ping pong ball, essentially. But regardless, he survives. However, blue team, in this case, Lyra, tried to pick up the dragon.
But again, watch out, Killcore. Is he going to get picked off by Jakobsen? No, Jakobsen's going to get caught out as the entire Lyra team collapses on him. That was a beautiful bait from them.
That was a beautiful int from from Jakobsen. I do have to agree. And this is something that is starting to become a pattern in Lyra's gameplay, is that they are just overextending.
I just want to point this out because Jakobsen thought that he could get round the back, maybe get off a few shots on Galio. But look at that vision control from Lyra in, the east side of the map. And it's just massive. So he just got collapsed on as Kreiner and Grathwold turned up and just finished them off.
Yeah, and this is the correct usage of your vision when you are this far ahead at this point in the game. A couple of control wards here and there, a lot of regular vision wards put down in the enemy's jungle means that they cannot really go anywhere without being I completely brain farted. Without being fearful for their own life. And at this point, Lyra can set up their renowned Lyra Death Bush and just keep catching them out, because Roskilde have just been overstepping time and time again when they don't have sufficient vision around themselves, and this is just becoming a really big problem for them that may cost them the game in the end.
And this was one thing we were going to mention in the pre-show, but I'm not sure if we did. It's Lyra and how they don't always vision the best, ward the best.
Yes.
But that doesn't seem to be the case this time. As Cyan, is he going to get caught by Grasswall? No. However, will there be a cheeky start to the Baron? No, I don't think so yet. Meanwhile, Shen pushing the bot wave pretty well. However, he does have to be careful now as Grathwall... No, Grathwall's not going to come around.
Roskilde still have a lot of engage opportunities.
Oh, and they're starting Baron. Braum and... Sorry, Jakobsen is here, but will they be able to contest?
And both of the top laners do have their teleport, so they can still go in.
Both jungles are here, and Lyra are going to back off, which is the good decision, I think. There's no point in risking a 50-50 Baron, is there?
The 50-50 Baron is Lyra's special, we call it over here.
And Mela is trading on Big Gunk, so he seems fairly confident, but Big Gunk is winning this trade massively right now.
Big Gunk is a big
going to back
gunk.
off from this. I think and he has to flash the Cyan Q, and there's Yul, and that is Mela dead. Why did he... You mentioned that Shen is not good in prolonged trades, and he went for that prolonged trade, and it was clear he was never going to win that.
He went for a trade, but in the end he just gave everything that Big Gunk wanted to him. So, a bit questionable.
And a wasted flash as well at the end of it.
And it's really important because the good old taunt flash is now unavailable for our poor old Meller, but a lot of overconfidence, I'm going to say, because there is no way that he could possibly kill Big Gunk just by himself.
Now we've got the entire team of Roskilde collapsing on 3 members from Reiner, and Alistair turns up really nicely, but the Galio ult's a little bit short of his mark. Shen dashes in with a taunt, and Jakobsen's going to die. What about Lissandra? The Kaiser ult is a fantastic ult, and it does pick up Brent. Is he going to die? No, he flashes out, and he saves himself just in the end. Oh, that was a nice play by Cyan.
God.
He flashed in just to pick up Lodberg. And he did get it to work in the end, but Big Gunky's got nowhere to go right now.
That was just terrifying.
Can he pick up Kreiner? I don't think so.
Oh my god!
Oh, he's got the ult! He's got out there. That is Big Gunk with the big plays.
This is... Okay. That's why we call him the Big Gunk, right there. The entirety of Lyra just trying to chase him down, and suddenly Cyan gets his ultimate, and well... Pain Train can bring a lot of pain.
It was unlucky because if Killcore's ult had actually hit someone, that fight could have gone completely differently. But the entire fight shifted, and as a result, Killcore's ult, Demacian Judgment, just completely missed.
Hero's Entrance, I believe, Killcore.
Hero's Entrance.
Yes, and he got a bit blue balled by Kreiner at the beginning of the fight, just because the entire team of Roskilde got knocked away with the crescent. I'm not French. With the crescent guard from Kreiner. So bit of an oopsie whoopsie. But regardless, a relatively, I'm going to say, even team fight. You know, they did get the they did get more kills.
Roskilde going for the death rush. Oh, they're gonna have to back out of that. Meanwhile, Shen is pushing in the bot wave pretty well. So, however, Sign's back and he's going to contest that now.
And Meller,
timing on that back.
Yes, and Meller, something that we have noticed with his playstyle is that he loves to split push. He just loves being in a different. His
and
Shen really
Lyra going to pick up the Infernal Drake though, so that's their third dragon, which is important. But Meller has actually forced Flawless off the blue buff, so that's going to be pretty important for Killcore, who does snap that up.
And a blue buff at this stage of the game doesn't really matter too terribly much, but it's still nice for your morale and ego just to take it away from the jungler.
At this point in the game, how do you break the stalemate if you're Lyra? Because you're 5k gold ahead, you've got more kills, you've got more drakes. What do you do?
So the thing here is that you have still just 2 items on Lodbrok. He is building the Zeal, so I am assuming that he is going to be built maybe into Static Shift, maybe, who knows. He is going to be picking up a crit item, and as soon as he hits about 4 items, he's going to be dealing a lot of damage, I say, as he nearly blows Flawless up.
Half HP's Flawless with, what, 2 auto attacks and a W.
Yes.
And a Q, and his Q.
He has finished the Rage Blade, so, you know, it's acceptable.
He's 1 item ahead of his ADC counterpart at start Baron, because the entire Roskilde team has backed up to try and deal with that Shen. But it's going to be quite a quick Baron, actually.
Why did they do that? I'm sorry, I want to analyze the situation, but I just have no goddamn idea why the entire team of Roskilde just decided.
And there's a massive wave of minions topside on that in a turret, so Flawless is going to pick up a bit of farm.
Yeah, okay. Let's just move on. Let's just move on from the Baron.
That didn't happen. It was a fantastic Baron by Lyra.
Yes, they just got the Baron buff. Somehow. Okay, we're not going to talk about how they got it. It's just important that they just have it.
It was donated to them.
Yes, and now they have a death
Rathwell picks up a nice WQ combo, but Sign is going to save Jakobsen with his knockup. Meanwhile, Flawless, he's not going to go in on Kreiner. Meanwhile, Meller now pushing in the top lane, and he's going to get a fair bit of damage off, actually. While Lodberg just takes all of the red side jungle.
Now Lyra are just pushing on 2 waves at once. Is
Meller going to get caught out? No, his entire team's coming up, so Grathwall would get the combo off onto Big Gunk. How much damage can Lodberg pull off? Enough, it would seem. What about Flawless? Flawless has to run out, he's on half HP. Grathwall has pulled off the ult, he does have that Zeke's convergence.
Right now they're just cracking open the inhibitors like it's butter. You don't really crack open butter, but you know, points to stand.
They're cracking it open like biscuits.
Do you crack biscuits open though?
Cracking open a peanut?
Yes, okay, that actually works. Yeah, that works.
And Peanut's a League of Legends player. There we go. It's officially a good pun.
We've come just full circle. Now, there is still 10 more seconds on Big Gunk, and he's the only tank.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm terribly sorry.
Jakobsen is going to fall, Kaiser ults in, and that's going to be a kill. Galio's going to ult in as well. Flawless is forced as Lodberg dies under the fountain laser. But here comes Big Gunk with the ult. They're going to pick up Killcore. He burns the Zhonya's, but he's going to die anyway. And that was silly.
I'm kind of glad that we don't use webcams now, because I feel like both these teams would now hate me.
Yeah, but my face just went into my hand.
Yeah,
I was just thinking, if you were Lyra, just go take the bottom inhibitor turret, take the inhibitor, Why do you need to dive in on Jakobsen? Just siege it. You have Baron.
Yes.
Why?
See, the thing is, they could have actually continued the fight if Lodberg didn't die, because he is the main damage dealer of Lyra. But as soon as he got instantly bopped by the neck, by the fountain, well, there was nothing that they could do.
And then as soon as he's dead, Big Gunk's here. Let's just ult into you guys, and you're dead.
Yeah. So right now, they still took 2 inhibitors. So you know,
it's still a decent Baron power play.
Yes, it was still decent. They didn't need to completely power in there, but regardless, they still played it relatively well. There is going to be another Drake spawning up. It's going to be the Ocean one, so another one into their bank.
I just want to point out that Lyra had a lot of bounty that was on their heads, especially Killcore, because he hadn't died since that second gank from Flawless.
Ooh.
So there was a lot of gold. If you look at the current gold difference, it's only about 4k. And I think he was probably about 6k before they all died, so they lost a lot of bounty gold there. Yeah,
they lost a lot of lead there, and that can mean that this game is comebackable. But regardless, now the thing is, right, we have talked about the fact that both these teams have late game team fighting comps.
Yes.
And the fact that Lyra almost managed to win is impressive, but...
Oh, look at this. Mela is trying to have a little fight on Big Gun. Meanwhile, the rest of the team are sieging the bot lane, the bot side turret.
So both these teams have late game team fighting comps, but now the lineup of Roskilde is going to get only stronger and stronger with Tristana, whom I dare deem stronger in the team fights than Lodberg. And it's a ticking time bomb.
You've got more AoE damage, don't you, with the explosive bomb?
Yes, and it is just becoming a slowly ticking death bomb for Lyra. They need to actually start doing something.
However, there is one thing I want to mention, which is Cyan is stronger than Shen, so having the Shen split pushing in the side wave, forcing Cyan over there is good in a team fighting sense, I think.
Certainly, especially if Big Gun doesn't have his teleport up. We actually haven't seen too much usage of the spell this game. I'm not exactly sure why. There have been a couple of cross-map team fights, but regardless, he still does have that teleport, so he can make sure that his presence is known in the team fight. However, you mentioned that he is stronger than Shen. He's also stronger than Braum a lot. He is pretty much the biggest tank in the lineup of Roskilde, and if he isn't there at the beginning of the team fight, the backline can just collapse immediately because this Kaisen now has a couple of items to their about.
And I think it's important to mention the items. Big Gunk has 4 items and his boots completed, while Mela only has 2 items and his boots completed. So, but Baron is up, and the next Drake is Elder Drake. So if Lyra can pick both those up, it's game over pretty much.
They are just grouping around this Baron pit.
And is there any way for Lyra to defend this?
Well, let us go that they can. Look how many control wards there are. Jesus Christ.
And Lodberg is just burning through this so quickly. And
okay, that is unfortunate.
Flawless is a bit late in, and there he goes.
See, normally I would say that a bug jumped into the pit, but at this point it may have been a glitch. So,
No. It wasn't a glitch. It was a bug in the game. There you go.
But a glitch. It's a clever pun, play on words, something slang. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we should just call ourselves the Puncasters.
The Punkcasters. I feel like that's literally everyone ever they cast with me. So, you know, we're gonna work on that.
Just gonna mention that Roskilde's all their inhibitors are back up, although Lyra are now sieging the top lane inhib. So I'm not sure how long that's going to be up for.
And Galio is running down the mid lane as well.
And there we go, that's one inhib down. And here goes the second inhib. And now prepare for Lyra to just int again.
Well, let's not say that just yet. Looks like they will be going into the bot lane instead and to pick up that turret. But now
Lissandro turning in, he gets the root off on... And that's a good kill off on Lodberg. Lodberg got caught off. Meanwhile, Tristana dealing damage. She picks up a Wrath Ball. And there you go. Killcore is going to fall as well. And it's going to be... Where's Shen? Shen's managed to escape. So it's 4 kills.
And
I cursed them, didn't I?
yes, you indeed did, and this is exactly what Roskilde needed to get back into the game. The gold lead is now just about 2,000.
Mela is going to have to play super safe because he's the only one left with the Baron buff.
Yes, and now, even though they don't have the 2 inhibitors, they have a couple of they have a couple of kills now on X-Perks as well. He has finished the Infinity Edge, so the next item, if he decides to build a crit one, is going to be 100% crit chance, and he's going to be dealing a lot of damage. So again, this ticking time bomb is starting to tick faster and faster.
I just want to mention, in that fight, Ben played a brilliant flash stun onto Lodberg, so kudos to him because that flash stun won them the fight completely.
Yes, single-handedly. If you kill Lodberg at the beginning of a team fight, there is nothing that Lyra can do.
Yeah.
You mentioned in the beginning that they have no real damage outside of Kai'Sa, and this is where it shows. If you kill Kai'Sa early enough, well, the team fight is screwed for Lyra.
So, is Grothwall going to get caught out? Roskilde are collapsing, but they're going to get counter-collapse as Killcore gets a nice taunt off. And Jakobsen's about to die. He does die, trying to burn from the ult. Meanwhile, Flawless is almost dead, but Lissandra is going to pull off the ultimate. And I think that's going to be it.
Definitely
Big
can
gun
be it.
flashes back over the wall. Kai'Sa ults just to secure it as well. Unnecessary, but look how many minions there are sieging on the Nexus of Roskilde, and I feel like that's going to be it. That's going to be game over here. They only have 2 members up, and that's Flawless and Expert, who are just both way too squishy, especially to defend against the 5 members of Lyra. And that's it. It's GG. They tried to collapse on Lyra, who were taking the Elder Drake, but it was a good counter collapse from Killcore and Grothwall that won it for them in the end.
See, and I have to criticize Roskilde once again for their positioning, because this was like the 3rd objective that they didn't contest. This was about they first didn't contest the Baron, the 2nd Baron. They didn't contest an early Inferno Drake, and they didn't contest the other one. And at the Elder, they tried to come there, but they were too late. They didn't realize that Lyra actually play well around objectives, and that if they have the vision around them, they immediately go for them. And Roskilde, they just didn't respond in time. So they have to actually work on that. They have to work on trying to keep their vision up and actually being aware of, you know, where the enemy team is, because if this keeps on going like this, well, they're going to have a lot of trouble in Division 2.
And that's with Lyra making 2 key mistakes as well that, you know, it could have almost thrown the game.
Yes, it could have, they could have had turned it around at a couple of spots. They just needed to catch Lodberg out. Once again, people are asking for a gold grab, and I want to say Sion kind of did the most damage on the lineup of Roskilde.
Yeah, 14.6k gold at the end of it.
Yes, about 2.5 times more damage than the 2nd highest damage, which was on Kha'Zix.
Yeah.
So,
and,
you know,
all the gold on Lyra did go to Lodberg. He had 15.4k gold. More. The next highest was Kreiner on 14k. So, yeah, all the gold went to Lodberg. He had the most CS, and as a result, he was the strongest on the team.
Yeah, and Big Gung, he really played a big role in that game. However, he couldn't turn it around himself. He still was a Scion, so, you know, kind of happens. But regardless, Roskilde, they showed us some strengths, but they have also showed us some really big weaknesses and some mistakes that they tend to do. So I think that this match is going to be really interesting from the standpoint of other teams, because they can actually study it and come back with some good reports over on Roskilde, because they're showing pretty much all of their cards here today. And we're just going to have to see if the game 2 is going to be different, or if Roskilde are going to actually come back with a sweeping return 2-1 against Lyra. Guys, we're going to go into a short break. Don't go anywhere, and we'll see you in a few minutes.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to this Division 2 game between SRG, Lyra, and Roskilde Esports. This is Game 2 after SRG Lyra picked up the win in Game 1, and joining me for Game 2 again is Karim.
Howdy everyone, welcome back. Hope that you managed to pick up some nice snacks, some popcorn, maybe some chips, as we will be going right into the yet again.
Sorry, yeah, we're going right into the ban phase, and Roskilde have banned off the Rakan and the Nivea again, and Lyra again have banned the Aatrox and Katarina.
Yeah, however, so they're just running back the same bans, except for the Scalio. I suppose that Roskilde deemed Killcore too impactful on this champion, and at least it will be one less of a champ that, you know, is going to be able to jump from mid lane to top lane and then back to bot lane over to just ruin your dreams. So, hey, it can have only good impact.
Maybe Flawless said, I thought Killcore was going to be an easy kill for me. We need to get him on something squishier. But Lyra banned off the Camille, and Roskilde have gone for that Xin Zhao this time.
They are taking it away from Kreiner, and while Kreiner didn't have the most of his impactful games, as he generally doesn't, on the Xin Zhao, it still was a pretty good pick for him, so I'm actually looking forward to seeing Flawless on it, because it does fit up right his alley. He has played Kha'Zix, and he was pretty damn good on it, so, you know, let's just see how much impact he can have with even more early game focus jungler.
Right, and Mela taking the Shen, and hopefully he'll... I don't know, I felt that in the last game he was a bit too aggressive against the Sion, and he lost too many traits where he could have just played it more sensibly, I think.
Yes, Meller, he does have that problem of overextending. He does split push a lot, and usually well. However, he did make a couple of missteps here and there, but his Shen is still good, so it makes sense that they put him onto it, and Kreiner will... Kreiner will actually be taking the Kindred, so that is a hyper carry being put into Kreiner's hands.
And Big Gunk taking Urgot. So, what usually happens then in an Urgot Shen lane? Who wins out of that?
Oof, so, thing is, right, I actually think this is going to be Urgot mid lane, because when you think about the matchup of Shen and Urgot, what does Urgot like to do? Well, he has an ability that lets him auto-attack a lot. What ability does Shen have? He has an ability that ignores your auto-attacks.
Yeah.
So, I think it might be going into the mid lane. It's still a flex pick, can go to both lanes. The Santra now being taken for Lyra instead, so a bit of a swap, Xin Zhao for the Santra. And once again, Lyra are just wanting pure team fighting potential. However, they may actually opt for something like the Ezreal, maybe even a Jhin or Lucian in the bot lane, now that they have an AD carry in the jungle instead.
And don't forget, the Xayah Rakan Lovers duo is still available, as Roskilde take away the Alistair pick from Grothwall. So I think we're going to see it. I think we're going to see Lyra, as Lucian is banned from the side of Roskilde. Sorry, Lyra banned Lucian away from Roskilde.
Yes, and Lyra now have the possibility to actually pick up that Xayah. And if they don't, well, it's likely that Roskilde will pick it themselves.
I think they're going to take it.
Yes,
Lyra should just take Xayah, and they've got
Caster's Curse, Caster's Curse, Caster's Curse, come on.
Take it, come on.
well, I think that we'll have a couple more seconds to actually get into that portion.
Yeah. But I do like, though, how Grothwall has taken that Lissandra. Again, two champions he hasn't played much of in solo queue, but they do have they are sustainable. They are sustainable, is that a thing? Okay.
Yes.
And there we go, it's I think we're onto it.
Oh yeah, we are onto it. It's superior animal.
It has to be a Rakan. And now Roskilde are going to take a Rakan APC just to mess around with life, you know.
See, technically, they could actually still pick Rakan if Tahm Kench goes to top lane and Urgot into mid lane. It's still a possibility, but...
Oh, wait. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, Roskilde banned Rakan. It was their first ban. How have we missed that?
Okay, yeah, so we're kind of blind, apparently.
And Lyra haven't done a ban.
So, you know, That's fun. Also,
Yeah.
Colorpoint is currently making fun of me into my ear. Just thought that I would let you know of my
I'm not
own
sure
suffering.
if it was you or both of us, but no, you were right because Renekton has been picked. So Renekton's going to go top, and we're going to see the Urgot mid against Lissandra.
At least I
And-
got something right. It's okay. Look at me now, Color. Who's laughing now? Okay. So we're going to have.
Also, I'm kind of interested. Why? Is that just me? But Lyra haven't done a ban. They
yes,
didn't do their
they
last
didn't.
ban.
Yeah, ProDraft sometimes bugs out.
Okay.
So we'll probably get a confirmation on that in the league client itself. Regardless, I think this is going to be the final setting for both of the teams, so we can actually talk about them. And it's a very similar one that we've seen in the first game, except for the fact that now we have Renekton in the top lane.
Yeah. And Roskilde don't have any AP on their side, do they?
I didn't think of that. Yes, and now
But
playing into
Lyra
Shen.
don't have many tanks.
Well,
Yes,
yes,
but Shen
yes.
does like to build armor, so
Okay, how about the Iceborne Gauntlet on Lulu, though?
sorry. So, what were you saying?
I'm sorry. We're just kind of silent as we just listen, and apparently it was a no idea. Honestly, it's okay. We're just moving on the fly. This is.
I'm
getting
terrible
awkward by
at
the minute.
multitasking. I always realize, like, my friends say when I play League, why don't you listen to music at the same time? And it's like, I can't do it. When I listen to music, I forget that I'm playing League or something.
Yes, okay, but we're talking about Shen being really tanky.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Shen misplays the laning phase and gives a... Okay, there you go. So we actually got a text confirmation so that we can actually comprehend what the hell we were supposed to know. And Renekton is actually going to be LeBlanc instead, so hold your horses. It's gonna be your go top.
Okay.
My superior
So,
analyst role
does
has
that
just
mean
been
that
completely whipped away.
So was Renekton supposed to be the ban then, and then LeBlanc just didn't come through on our screens?
It might have been. I'm not sure, but regardless, it'll be LeBlanc in the mid lane against Lissandra, which is a pretty interesting matchup. It can swing both ways, especially if Kreiner actually decides to come around mid lane, which he should, because if Lissandra just locks LeBlanc down in place and now you have the Kindred there, well, LeBlanc can run away and she is super squishy, so she just dies immediately. So it's going to be really important to see where Kreiner once again decides to go, because mid lane should be his most visited lane, as in the rest of the map there won't be too terribly much to do.
However, as I'm just trying to think, if you are Kindred, you wouldn't want to be ganking Roskilde, because LeBlanc is notoriously one of the most difficult champions to gank.
Yes, however, you have the Frozen Tomb in the form of Lissandra, so you can actually lock her down in place, and as soon as you do that, it's an easy gank. But alas, it will come down to the execution of both the mid laner and the jungle of Lyra, and if they misplay that, well, it's just going to be Bent jumping away, just skip, and he's gone, apparently. Just that's how that works.
Probably one thing that's important to mention is the Sivir pick, and when you do take the Sivir, you are playing for that late game. So,
yes.
But then at the same time, you've got Urgot, you've got Xin Zhao, you've got LeBlanc, who can all be quite strong early game. So how do you think Roskilde are going to be playing this in terms of focusing on early or late game?
So I do like their team composition this time around as well, and because if you actually put Flawless with Big Gunk, we have seen in the first game that Big Gunk is a really big influence on their whole team and the game in general, and we have seen him on Sion first. We'll see if, well, he's also good on champions like that Urgot. However, on Urgot you can take over a game more significantly, especially because because he actually can snowball a tiny bit. So if you will ever see Flawless anywhere on the map, it's most likely going to be either mid lane, but mostly top lane, because he actually has a relative amount of CC there. LeBlanc doesn't really provide too much, as Lissandra can hop away before the root manages to land, and in the bot lane it's going to be mostly about Sivir surviving, so I think that Flawless will be mostly roaming around this top lane, at which point, if Melor keeps on overstepping, as he did in the first game, he's going to have a lot of issues on his hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to remember what I was thinking like 3 seconds ago, which was...
That's fine. Yeah, I do that sometimes as well.
Last game we saw Sion, we saw Big Gunk Sion, which did win against the Shen in lane. He did beat Mela's Shen. But this time Big Gunk is playing on an Urgot, and we did say that Shen should technically counter Urgot because he does have the ability to stop auto attacks.
Yes.
So it's going to be interesting in that sense.
He can block out Urgot, however, Urgot also has a displacement, so technically he can force him out of that little... Thing is, he can also have the Xin Zhao in his lane, so I don't think it's going to be a lot about solo kills, even though it can be, and mostly about how much can they bully out Melor 2v1. Now, again, there is the possibility of killing Shen, or Urgot even, but yes, Urgot should have a lot of kill pressure, especially if Xin Zhao is roaming around his map, around his lane.
Right. And yeah, you did mention how that Sivir would be a possible weak point for Roskilde, but they do have that Tahm Kench, which gives Sivir that extra durability in lane. And that being said as well, Kindred is not a champion with the biggest possible gank potential, you know, if you compare it to something like Zac, Rengar, even Lee Sin, all of those. Kindred doesn't have the most gank potential.
Yes, and this is why I think that Kindred is going to be also roaming around the mid lane mostly, because she has the biggest potential to actually get a kill there. LeBlanc is the squishiest of Roskilde's lineup, and she's against Alessandra, who can set up these really strong ganks. So I think that Kreiner is mostly going to be spending a lot of his attention over there, or again in the top lane, so there is actual potential for us to see some 1v1 or 2v2s in the top side jungle if they decide to involve their mid laners. So that is also a possibility that we can see this game.
And last game we saw as soon as people started hitting level 6, that's when the kills started coming in. The Galio tried to ult into I think it was to save Grothwall if I remember correctly, and then he ended up dying. So in this game, you've got far less global ultis. Of course, you've got the Tahm Kench ult, you've got the Shen ult, but apart from that, you don't have any global ulti, so it will be down to those teleports.
Yes, and it looks like Bent will be actually taking a teleport. Again, they have right now 20 seconds to change those summoners, but, or sorry, 40. But if he takes that, I'll be pretty surprised.
Yeah, a LeBlanc teleport is not the most common thing seen in the world.
Yes, because you can actually bully out Lissandra before you're level 6. It is still a really strong power spike, but it isn't the most important one. So we can see some pre-level 6 kills happening in the mid lane in the form of Bent. So that is also something that we should pay our attention to.
I was going to say, if you're also Bent, would you not consider a cleanse?
That is also a possibility. I would definitely favor it over teleport, which he is keeping going into the game forward.
Yeah,
so
it hasn't changed.
He hasn't changed it. So either ignite. Or...
Oh no, he took the cleanse. He went to.
Wow.
I predicted it. Yes.
Okay.
Give me the rewards.
I hate the spectators so much. I hate the spectators.
Last second. I can just see him there quickly changing his rooms. I thought I was going Galio.
Okay, yeah, so he did. Yeah. He is running cleanse. Okay, it's okay. We have the superior analyst with us now. So
I can't believe I predicted that. I never thought I'd be able to do that.
A play-by-play. That is forbidden.
Yeah.
Regardless, he will have now quite a bit of survivability with this cleanse. As soon as the Ice Tomb goes in, then he can just pop the cleanse and skippy away. So again, that might be a bit harder now for Kreiner to actually do something around the mid lane, but I still think it's going to be the most important lane for him. Maybe not for us, but for him, definitely.
Yeah. And yeah, as you said, it's going to be much more difficult for Kreiner to now gank, because that route that you mentioned as being a way to lock LeBlanc down is practically gone if he pulls off the cleanse. So the best he can do is just take off the summoner spell from Bent.
Yes, most certainly. And now I want to talk about the team compositions a bit more in general, because both have relatively good mid games. You have LeBlanc, you have Zinzao, you have Urgot, all of which are really good in the mid game, especially if they get a couple of kills under their belt in the early game. But the lineup of Lyra is suited, again, for mid game as well. So we're going to be seeing a lot more team fights earlier, and if the lineup of Roskilde don't actually find any opportunities, it's going to be really detrimental for them, because they won't have the Sivir active until she hits her 4 items or her full build. So they're just going to have to wait for her to actually do something if they don't get these leads. So if we don't see Roskilde doing something really important for themselves early on, we can already start speaking of the game as a bit of a flop, because they really need to show something to us in the early game.
That does remind me, and I'm actually slightly disappointed with Lyra now, because last game they played entirely around Lodberg. The entire team composition was focused around being able to defend Lodberg. But in this game, I don't feel it's that orientated. If Kreiner had maybe gone for the Sejuani, the Trundle, the Zac, I would say that's a great composition that again goes around Lodberg. However, that being said, last game Kreiner was on the Zinzao, so maybe we will be seeing Lodberg being the focus, especially with the Lulu Gigantify. Lodberg will be dealing a lot of damage come the late game.
Most certainly. However, in the last game, the problem for Lyra was that if Lodberg was eliminated from the fight, there was nothing that they could do. Now they will have the guarantee in the form of Kreiner as well, and they have a really strong teamfighting comp just because they can keep a person alive for so damn long. They have the Lamb's Respite, they have the, is it Hugify or Gigantify?
Hugify. I'm just trying to remember what she screams in the game.
It's okay, she just screams something.
Yeah.
She's a Yordle. So, they have a lot more sustainability throughout the teamfight. They can actually prolong it. So, it also works nicely against Urgot's Fear Beyond Death. So, they may just be able to win out the teamfights through blocking out their burst, which is something that Roskilde actually rely on going into these teamfights. They have this LeBlanc, they have this Urgot and Zinzao. They can actually burst people down, whereas Lyra, they just want a really long teamfight just to let their AD carries shine, in the form of Kreiner and Lodberg.
Right, but we have now entered the game, so are we going to see any cheeky little nades or anything? No, I think everyone's being sensible for now.
Right now, yeah. Neither of the teams have a really good invade comp, so most likely just a boring early game, as a certain former coach of Lyra would say.
I did like it when Fnatic were in the Worlds and they played with the Rakan just to get the dash over the Drake. Was it Baron Pit? I think it was Baron Pit.
Yes, it was Baron
and get the engage of that was sneaky.
That was sick. Unfortunately, we don't have Fnatic in the tournament. We have been in the talks with them, so maybe, maybe next split.
We're in talks with them. Reckless will play 1v5.
Yes, he's going to play with Origin next year, and Origin is going to play here regardless. Let's not mean.
I was so sad when I heard that Caps was leaving. I was like, why?
Oh yeah, that was a very sad moment. Luckily, none of the players will be leaving us, hopefully, in the second half of the Wintersplit, even after the roster changes.
But yeah, both sides going for the bottom buffs. So
the bottom buffs.
Roskilde taking red buff and
Vidget taking their
bot side buffs.
The bot side buffs. Okay, that sounds a bit.
But look at this, Flawless. He's getting ready for a very early gank on Killcore. And he's turned up. Can he get the dash? Yes, he does. Oh, and Killcore is forced to burn his flash. Good gank.
That was a really nice gang from Xin Zhao, yeah, and taking a flash means that he can actually go and repeat it. I mentioned that there is no real way that Flawless can actually get a gank off on mid lane if Lissandra uses her claw properly before the root actually lasts, but it's going to be more difficult for her now that she doesn't have the flash and cannot actually get herself out of the range quickly enough.
Right, and we now have Flawless. He's invading the topside jungle, so he's going to pick up a few nice of gold there. He's actually going to take the red.
He's just... And again, Kreiner is just oblivious to it at this point.
Kreiner went bot side. He got a few shots off on Tom, but Tom's already regenerated it from his health pot. So, you know, if we stick with Kreiner... Oh, but here we go. Flawless, he wants round 2. Now on Lissandra. LeBlanc dashes in. And he does have the... Killcore does have the claw, and he does get away.
Yes.
So.
And this is what I meant when I mentioned that there should be no real way for you to actually gank this Lissandra. But again, it almost happened, and no real advantages will be given out this early in the game.
I just want to say something. Ben is a really nice mid laner, because he just let Flawless take about 3 CS, which is practically unheard of for a mid laner, so...
Aw, that's cute. That's cute. just developing these relationships, you know? Just he gets +5 to bonus relations with Flawless right now. But yeah,
my mid laner in a solo queue game, get the hell away from my fun!
This Ben, just please, yes. Please, take which one do you choose? But yes, a couple of creeps going into the pockets of Flawless will be nice.
Big Gunk, he's going to try and get off a little trade on Kreiner, and Flawless is here. He does really be able to get the knock-up. Kreiner's forced to flash, but Flawless flashes and gets the knock-up, and a great executed gank from the side of Roskilde.
That wasn't even a gang, that was just Kreiner getting caught out, and that is an early kill over for this Xin Zhao, and if Flawless manages to properly snowball himself, well, it's going to be a really tough game for Kreiner. And already we are seeing that Flawless is more proactive than Kreiner in the sense of actually going into the enemy jungle and picking up his buffs, which is really important, and that is why he is sitting on a bit of a CS lead right now.
Well, if you think about it, if I lay out the facts for you...
Okay, lay it on me.
Flawless has done 3 ganks. Twice he's ganked Killcore, and once, well, I guess it's a gank, but he killed Kreiner. But he's got more CS as well, so he's been more proactive, and he's got more farm. He's invaded Kreiner's jungle. He's just dominating the jungle battle at the minute.
Yeah, like it or not,
Big Gunk and Mela having a bit of a fight. Mela taking a bit of minion shots, and he gets quite low. But Big Gunk can probably pick up the kill fairly easily if he can just land his Q.
Right now, this is a dangerous territory for both of these top laners because they can kill each other.
Both. Oh, there we go. Big Gunk gets a dash off, but Mela, he gets, what do you call it?
He uses the shield.
Uses the shield. He pulls his sword towards them and negates damage.
Yes, that's what he does. That's what we call it.
Oh, this is hilarious. Kreiner's coming into the jungle, says, "Hey, let's get some farm," and then realizes it's all gone.
That is unfortunate.
That is brilliant. I'm sorry, but
a bit. Yeah, but this is actually interesting to talk about because when you think why he actually went there, it's because he assumed that Flawless's blue buff would be up. Well, why would he think that? The red buff is going to be spawning in about a minute or so, naturally, so should the blue buff, right? Well,
yeah.
The fact that Flawless actually ran over into Kreiner's jungle actually kind of destroyed the jungle timing for him, and well, that's just a bit of pressure being given up.
Okay, but the first dragon of the game is the Infernal Drake. So it's no surprise that Flawless is around that bot side, trying to get the bot side priority for taking the Drake. Meanwhile, Lissandra, Killcore looking for a bit of a roam, but she fights against it. I think that control ward was already there before she turned up.
Yes, it was. So no worries. So right now we're just seeing a few incremental CS leads being taken. The biggest one in top lane once again in the form of Big Gunk. However, else not much
and just
happened.
as you say that, Mela decides to go in for a trade, and now Big Gunk gets the flip.
He does have the
there's
Fury on
the
death.
Fury on death, and that's going to be a kill going over to Big Gunk. Well played by him, and Shen. See, we said that Shen should win a lane against Big Gunk, but he's struggled so far. But look at this, flawless. He's waiting flawlessly behind the wall.
He has been seen by the creeps. I can see that. Kilgore knew that he was there. Yeah, so he probably doesn't know the range of the vision there. But to talk about what happened in top lane, I mentioned that Shen should beat out Urgot. However, not past level 6. As soon as Big Gunk actually gets his Fear Beyond Death, that's a pretty big execute that Meller has to be afraid of, and once again, he was just too aggressive and didn't respect the laner enough. It also happened in the first game, and it's coming to bite him in the behind in the second one as well.
Yeah. And again, that Drake's still up there, but Kindred is, I think, Kryna is looking for a little gank. The bot lane of Roskilde are slightly pushed up, so he'll be ready to use that blast gun, and here we go. They're backing off. Will Jakobsen just swallow Expert? So no. Sivir blows the ult, but again, the ult... Sivir's ult has always kind of intrigued me, because you keep... When I play League anyway, an ult has to be something that gets a kill or definitely saves someone. But with Sivir's ult, it's just a bit... I don't know. To know when to use it requires a bit of skill, I think.
Yes, you either use it to run at your enemies or run away from them, so it's generally... Sometimes it is a difficult thing to determine whether you want to int or not, but in this case the experts used it well in order to actually run away from them, and this just outlines the problem that Kryner has right now, because he cannot really go to any of the lanes outside of mid lane where Kilcorn actually has been pushed under his turret, so I'm a bit surprised by not seeing him there a lot more, because outside of mid lane, his lanes don't have setup, and he isn't playing a jungler that has his own setup.
Yeah, and again, we could say Bent does have the cleanse, but at least if you gank, you can burn that cleanse, which makes a future gank. Probably don't want to gank top because Big Gunk is strong and you run the risk of him just outplaying the both of you and picking up 2 kills, or he can just use his dash and hop away.
Yes, and now Flawless has the opportunity to go everywhere. So that is a bit, you know, a bit of a problem for them. And right now, Roskilde are actually at a 2k gold lead. So that is really nice for them. I said that they needed to do something in the early game, and they are certainly doing it.
Yeah, because last game we did see that Lyra, they had the advantage early game, but it's the other way around. And the fact that they are winning, in fact their bot lane has a CS lead, and they're playing as a Sivir against a Xayah, which should not happen.
It shouldn't happen, but they had Flawless in there, so, you know.
And I've just noticed, look at the CS lead for Big Gunk over Miller. As we have a bit of a fight here, as Kryne is turning up, he's going to pick up Jakobsen's Palm Ken. And who's just been CS? X-Bugs has just been snared down. And now Lyra are going to pick up the Infernal Drake, so... Bad play, but as we say that, Big Gunk making the big play, and he's going to pick up the kill on Miller.
Caster's Curse. Caster's Curse. They call this the Caster's Curse. So we just said that Roskilde had a really good game played out.
Yeah.
But in the end they just gave away 2 kills by overstepping. But
we said that their bot lane was so far ahead, which is unheard of for Sivir. And then Jakobsen gets caught out, and then Xbox decides, I'm going to try and get us a kill, and then just dies. So...
However, even if you're ahead as Sivir, it doesn't quite matter this early on, just because, you know...
You just don't have the damage. She doesn't have crit for her ricochets, does she?
Yeah, so it's like, oh wow, she is ahead. Oh well, she still deals no actual damage. Oh well, that can't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now, you mentioned the CS lead of Big Gunk, and it is currently sitting at around 50.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And just to put that in context, Mela only has 50 CS right now.
Yeah, that is just... That's a bit unfortunate,
Yeah,
isn't it?
and we didn't mention how important this was, that Big Gunk is now on a champion that can actually carry. So, and he's almost got the turret down as well. It's on its last plating, so we could see something going on here. However, Kryne is possibly going to be caught out now. Does he have a jump? No. It's Experts that's going to be caught out, but he does use a blast trying to get safety. Kryne is forced to blow the ult. Oh, and Mela had the last stand. Mela's last stand was going to Kryne, but it just came through too late. But Flawless is going in. He's going to pick up Lodberg possibly. Okay.
That is happening.
And Killcore turns up.
Yeah, Killcore just came around and destroyed everyone,
Yeah.
but that was really unfortunate for Kryne to get killed by the Xin Zhao's W. One of the most anticlimactic ways in League of Legends, but alas. A nice little fight for Lyra. In the end, they are still behind in terms of gold lead, but that is just because this gold lead of Urgot is so huge.
Yeah, and I feel like I feel like Roskilde really threw that away because Flawless decided, hey, look, I'm strong. Let me just run into you. And Killcore turned up behind and was like, yeah, no, you're not going to get away with that.
Yeah, a bit cocky from them, I'm not going to lie. But, you know, they are strong. Right now they are. Maybe not to take on the entire team themselves, but hey, who knows?
Meanwhile, Big Gunk getting a lot of damage. He's going to go in. Where's the fear beyond death? I think he lands. But, however, look at this. Flawless has been caught out, but Big Gunk picks up a kill. My directive camera went all over the place. I'm glad I saw what was happening around the Raptors.
Yep.
So...
Big Gunk is just destroying Malor at this point. Flawless died to Killcore, but Big Gunk has just so much pressure.
And this is a massive... We said how much the team was going to play around Lodberg, and he's currently 4-0. So Lodberg is the Uzi of Lyra, I guess.
Yeah, see, the difference between Uzi and Lodberg is that RNG don't really play around RNG, but who knows? Lodberg can still come up and be huge.
Oh, look at this, Lodberg almost getting the kill. Xbox is forced to flash. So, Xbox just has his heal available now, and also important to mention that Big Gunk, after he picked up the kill on Mela, he did take down the turret. And actually, we missed. Big Gunk changed his summon spell at the end to... Oh no, he's got Unsealed Spellbook, what am I talking about? As Xbox burns his ult now, they're going to try and chase down, but Grotwall burns his flash. However, Lodberg is going to be caught out, and I don't think there is anything he can do.
That is just unfortunate for Lyra. They overstepped once again. They should have just gone back. Lodberg had no mana anyways.
Yeah, it was a decent ult by Jakobsen taking Big Gunk into the backline. Or did Big Gunk PP in? I think I missed it.
No, Big Gunk actually used...
Oh wait, we've got a fight mid lane as well. Ben, Killcore uses the ult, but Ben just dashes out. I think he burned the cleanse, so... But
Killcore now is at full HP. Malor is still sieging down the top lane turret, so not all is going terrible for Lyra.
Yeah, and Roskilde have picked up 2 of the outer turrets now. They're 2k gold ahead, and there is a Drake coming up, and it's the Infernal Drake, so they do have bot lane priority over that Drake, so they should probably get it, I would imagine. Yes,
they do have the priority over it. They also have the vision control over at the Drake.
Dragon I think Lyra have... Wait, Lyra has loads of woods. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, did you say okay?
Yeah, I said Roskilde had priority because they're taking another turret, but yeah, I think
Roskilde have the priority, but Lyra have the vision control, and now the priority is even, boys. Okay, yeah.
So and is Jakobsen's forced to burn the flash? A good flash, I'd say. No point in risking it.
Just making sure that he doesn't give even more kills to this Xayah, and this is actually going to be really important for how the rest of the game is going to be played out, because you have 3 kills on Big Gunk, and sure, he has had amazing lane pressure in the top lane, but if Xayah hits her power spike sooner than Sivir, which he would even by default, well, let's give that
I don't think Lodberg's going to be able to contest, and actually Big Gunk's going in for Lodberg. He's going to get the flip. I think he's going to pick up the kill. Kill Core, meanwhile, has kept off the rest of the team from Lodberg. Lodberg and Lyra dominating this fight completely. As Jakobsen doesn't have a flash, so he's going to fall.
Yeah, Big Gang is actually surviving, surprisingly enough.
I'm sure Meller's going to get him. He'll have his dash up in a second or two. But yeah,
okay,
Big
well,
Gun
that's
gets the slow. Lulu gets her slow off, and
oh come on, just kill him, please.
He's got the shield, the shield's back, and flawless. It's great.
God.
It's 2 for 2. Oh no, Kleiner pulls off the ult right last second to save him from taking the turret shot to death. Wow. So Big Gunk there, so many shields coming off from the W passive, and
I am Big Gun.
Oh,
come on, how are you so good at this video game? He made the Grathwall just suicide essentially just to get that
the
kill.
Thing is, I think it was worth it because they ended up getting the what do you call it? The loot
bounty.
On the bounty on Big Gunk, and Flawless got the kill. If it was the other way around, that would have been great for Roskilde, but it wasn't. So, yeah.
Yeah, but it's nice getting this bounty.
However, just thinking, was it worth those deaths to stop Lyra getting a second Infernal?
First one. Well, it actually went down to Roskilde, I believe.
So I'm saying if they didn't have those deaths and Lyra picked up a second Infernal Drake, would it have been worth it? Because then you'd have Lodberg, who's already ahead, and he'd have 2 Infernals behind him, and I just feel that'd be a bit disgusting. Yeah,
see, if the kills didn't go over to Lodberg, I would say it was worth it. But the fact that he has now 6 kills is just it's really disgusting. He is already working to that Infinity Edge of his, and he's going to be dealing a lot of damage as soon as that one item comes through to him. So it's going to be really important that he gets it as soon as possible because they need to combat this sooner.
Is Big Gunk going to get caught out? You have Kreiner, Grothwald, they're all coming in to collapse on him. And I think they're not going to go for it in the end. One thing I do want to double check is Stormrazor. It gives you the flurry of critical strikes when you start an attack. Does your Infinity Edge deal double damage on those attacks?
Ooh, that is. It actually does. It is considered a what's it called? A critical attack. Yes, that's the term. So it actually does deal the double damage. So it technically does. I think 400%.
However, Lyra are going to pick up the Rift Herald, and I'm sure that mid turret is going to be disappearing very soon.
Yeah, and that was actually a really clutch Herald to pick up. As soon as they kill him, the nice little purple worm just comes in there.
Lives out.
Yeah, it just says his regards, and going to exist there for now. And looks like the Lyra team will just pick up another. Well, not another.
And the team fighting of Lyra in the last two. In this game and the last game have been decent. They did get caught out in the last game, but the actual team fighting, when they didn't get caught out, was superior on Lyra's side.
Yes, I definitely agree with you there. And now they will have the not more of capability to team fight, but they will have a more certainty in team fight just because of Lamb's respite. So it may be even better for them. And Twitch chat is currently asking for the Kindred marks. Currently Kindred has 4 marks, so, you know, just thought I'd give that out.
Yeah.
That's just interesting. Now, looks like both these teams just want to play a bit of an ARAM, so that's fine, you know, swapping game.
ARAM's always the best, but I'm sure Mello will say, no, I want to split push.
Yeah, he does want to split push, but he stopped being a baby, you know, they told him, just come with us, come play. Nice little...
Do some damage in the team for once.
Yeah, actually do something. Come on, dude. Regardless.
Big Gunk's like, I'm not split pushing. I'm fed. I need to be with my team.
And at this point, I would actually prefer Roskilde to go for a teamfight because they still do have this Urgot who has 4 kills. He has finished the Black Cleaver. He does have the Righteous Glory, so he isn't going for a damage-oriented build, but he's still going to be dealing a lot of damage.
One thing I just want to say, Lodberg has picked up the rapid fire cannon, so that's why I was wondering when you said he's going for the Infinity Edge. I was just thinking, would you want to do that before getting rapid fire? But he has gone for the rapid fire first.
Yes.
Oh, meanwhile, Killcore, can he pick up? No. Xbox has been stunned down. He did flash, but he got rooted down anyway. Meanwhile, Mello's coming from behind. Can he pick up Gunk? Flawless has fallen. Lodberg did use the minor burst his ult because he did have the fear beyond death on him. And that is a clean sweep for Lyra. They're going to pick up. It's yet another Infernal. Why are there so many Infernals in this game?
Well, I guess that we had enough diversity in the last game, but that was a really well played out team fight from Lyra. They completely isolated Big, I want to say Chungus, but
yeah.
it's Big Gunk. They isolated Big Gunk from the team fight so he couldn't actually deal any damage, and then they hunted him down in isolation. And that is exactly what you need to do in these fights when someone is ahead. If he's in a team fight, you just have to make sure that he doesn't actually contribute. Right. And Lyra have performed that really well.
Just gonna say, Lodberg is 8-1 right now.
Yes, and he will be able to finish that Infinity Edge as soon as he backs. So that is going to be a lot of damage coming up on this bird.
Got 2.5k of gold.
Okay. Okay, sure.
I was one letter off.
Almost, yeah. I mean,
almost.
It's a woman, okay. We would call it a different term. Regardless, yes. Zaya, 2.5k or 2.5k gold. He will still be. They will still be doing a lot of damage in these upcoming team fights, and if Lyra keeps on playing them out the same way that they have the last one, there technically should be no way that Roskilde can actually win them, just because they don't have enough damage just in the form of Big Gunk.
Also, we should probably mention, Big Gunk is going for his third item. He's got Black Cleaver, he's got the Righteous Glory, but he's going for the Thornmail now, and you'd have to think that is to deal with Lodberg.
Well, I suppose he just doesn't like being auto-attacked, and it makes sense, because, you know, you do have that Kindred, you do have the Zaya, so the only real...
And Shen.
Yeah, but, you know, he's not really that big of a deal in team fight.
He's almost been Flame Horizoned anyway by, Big Gunk.
Oh yeah, he just looks at him, he just scoffs, come on, kid. But yeah, so I'm not going to say the only threat in the team fight is going to be the Sandra soon, because she is going to be more focused on actually taking out the more damage-heavy carries, like the LeBlanc, Zinzao, or Sivir. But he is still going to be dealt a lot of damage by them. But again, if this Zaya is allowed a fourth item before Sivir even gets the composite items for it.
I feel like Lyra are gonna go for a Baron now.
They are positioning to it. However,
meanwhile, Big Gunk and Mela are having a little bit of a battle.
He needs to expend his Ignite to be able to join
I think
the
Mela's
fray.
gonna die. Oh, Mela fails his ult. He tried to flash it over the wall, and does he have to dash? Can he dash over the dragon? No, he's being feared beyond death. Meanwhile, we've got a bit of a fight going mid lane, and Xperx has already died while I was watching what was going on with Mela. So, with Xperx dead, I feel like they can take Baron.
They can, however, they don't really have frontline right now, and that is something that they should be scared of.
Oh, here's the Death Rush, the Lyra Death Rush, and they fail. No, they do pick up Jakobsen. Meanwhile, can they collapse on Flawless? No, I think they have been slowed.
Well,
can they go for Baron? There is a big wave, big blue minion wave on the top. Like, it's not that big. It looks big on the minion map.
It's pretty.
Oh, Big Gunk's down. Surely they can take Baron now. Yeah.
repeat, Big Gunk's down. Big Gunk has been shot in the face by some feathers, and he died. And this Baron is just going down so fast, and it looks like Roskilde don't even want to participate in the contention for it.
If they participate, Killcore is just going to claw over the wall and kill the Sinzal on the spot.
Yes, and you will also have a really angry bird lady throwing really sharp feathers at you, so, you know, that problem is...
She had her ult up, so she could have just ulted over the wall. It's like, hello, I'm here.
I actually wish that you could use your the Zaya ult to fly over walls.
Wait, I thought can you not move over walls with the Zaya ult?
No, you can. I originally thought so when she came out. When she came out, I thought that you could jump over the walls, and I tried to run away from Zed with it, and I was like, oh wow, well, I'm dead. That's unfortunate. But yeah, you can't run over the walls with them, but what you can run over is the enemy team. Zaya has picked up the QSS, and
I was about to mention that, yes. He has the QSS, which is so important against the Zinzao knock-up. the Tom Kent stun, and of course the got slow.
Yes, and so she will be more. She'll be able to actually sustain herself throughout the team fight without other people's participation. But even though she can do that, you have to remember that she doesn't have to expend it at the beginning of the team fight.
Mountain Drake is up, so will Kreiner go for this straight away? Yes, he is. But if you're Lyra now, you're gonna have 3 Drakes to Roskilde's 1. You've got more turrets. You've got your Baron buff. How do you play this? Do you play patiently and just let Lodberg keep on scaling, or do you have to try and end this as quick as possible?
I'm just going to answer with look at the top lane. Just Meller just again split pushing. They can keep doing that. They can keep just shoving these waves in at all lanes at the same time, and they will have to split the forces of Roskilde thin, and individually they are behind. So
Big Gunk is gonna get Killcore. Killcore's already used the ult, but Killcore used a claw, but she uses the ult. Now the flash, now the turret develop, but she has been slowed. Big Gunk has already used his ult. He gets a bit of damage off, but Killcore's claw resets. Meanwhile, mid lane, they're going to be taking the inhib, and Lodberg will. Meanwhile, Shen is split pushing top lane. So what do you do?
And what a surprise! But yes, this is exactly what I talked about when you split the forces. The only person that is relatively even with Lyra right now on Roskilde is the Big Gunk, and if he's not there, well, you're kind of screwed, aren't you?
Yeah. And we mentioned how important Big Gunk is for the team, and he's played well, but he just can't do anything. Not against an 11-1 Lodberg on Zaya, as Lodberg now picks up LeBlanc super quickly.
I'm so sorry.
Expert. And now Jakobsen's gone down. Can Big Gunk get anything? No, he's been rooted from the feather recall. And that is GG. Lyra will take game 2. And the series?
Yes.
Yeah, the series, yeah.
Yes, it's a best
I was just thinking, does the series mean they've won the attack? No, but they take game 2 and the series as a result. Lyra finishing in 14-1-2 with 1,000 bounty on her head.
Yeah, so Lodberg he did what Lodberg needed to do. He just survived against Severe, so, that's not really too terribly hard. But as soon as they actually started team fighting, as soon as they actually started picking up these fights where it wasn't just him and Grathwall, well, he started racking up the kills, and he hit the power spikes earlier than Severe. And at that point, when you can delete Urgot so quickly, even though he's so far ahead, there isn't really much that you can do. And as such, Lyra just took a pretty convincing victory at around 30 minutes in.
Yeah, and this signifies how important Lodberg is for Lyra. And even with the Shen that far behind, he was still doing so much with that split pushing. We saw it this game, and we saw it the last game as well. Completely behind, but still doing so much work for the team inside lanes.
Just because he likes to split push, come on, give the man what he wants. Guys, make sure to vote in for your MVP from both Roskilde and Lyra. The links are in the chat. So we're just going to wait on the votes to come in. But
someone actually mentioned though that apparently if you time QSS perfectly, you can cancel the Urgot ult.
Yes, I believe that is the case because you can actually still use some items when you are getting pulled in. I'm not sure at this point. I'm going to check it out, definitely. Thanks for bringing it up. I did notice it. But since we're already speaking of Urgot, I just want to thank Big Gunk for what he has done for us today, because it was a real big pleasure to just watch what he's done. It wasn't enough for him to, turn the games around, but in the end, he was pretty much the biggest Gunk and the biggest influence on the teams in general.
It was clearly him and Flawless. They both played... Flawless played well initially, but I think he got too carried away. He tried too hard to, make those individual outplays, and as a result, he turned the game on its head.
Yeah, and he's just dominating the results right now, 92%. I'm going to say not surprising, but
yeah,
8%
for Flawless. So considering that Roskilde lost, all the MVPs are going towards him.
Oof.
Okay, Lodberg's got a few votes. Okay,
it's okay. So let's kind of wrap up the stream. What I wanted to say about today's game, I mentioned it throughout the stream as well, but I think that every single stream that we have, every single series, actually displays a lot of the strong points and the weaknesses of every single team. And it's going to be incredibly important because this tournament is a single round robin. So when you play your team once, you don't play against them again. So it's going to be really important when you're going to be facing new teams because they're going to know what you've actually done before. So again, it's also going to be even more important now for teams to actually do their prep because you also have to show your cards. You have to show what you're capable of because again, you didn't get the second chance. So today was really significant for any kind of research that the coaches and teams want to do.
Yeah, definitely. But as you mentioned, we do need to wrap up, and this has been the second game, 3-game series, but it only went to the second game as Lyra have taken the first win of the year against Roskilde in the Serenity Gaming Division 2 first match of the year, or Week 8 game, if you consider the first match of the year, or
second match, technically.
Second match.
Yes.
Yeah, second match,
yes.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yes, I also want to feel free to give any final words. I just want to propagate, promote our stream a bit, selfless plugs and the likes. So guys, make sure to follow us everywhere, even in real life. We're on I'm not sure if we're on Facebook, but we're on YouTube, Twitch, of course, on our Twitter as well. Make sure to follow the Twitch as we will be streaming tomorrow as well. Some nice little grand games starting at 3 p.m. Hopefully the game won't be FF'd.
Yeah, hopefully. But yeah, a massive thank you from Karim and myself. And your MVP of the game, I think it's going to Big Gunk from Roskilde Esports.
Yes, I think that we can all agree on that. Thank you guys for watching, and for me and Milky Cereal, keep eating your balanced breakfasts, and have a good night.
Good night, guys.
Mm-hmm.